Once all these pieces are fitted, the woodwork here can be finished. Since this part of the rifle is heaviest looking, we take good care in shaping to give it as graceful an appearance as possible. A molding is cut along the forestock for the same reason.
The trigger guard, of course, protects the trigger and prevents the gun from being fired accidentally, but it does more than that. The long grip rail makes shooting the gun more comfortable by providing a place for the other fingers to rest. At the same time, the flowing lines make the gun more graceful in this critical area.
The front of the trigger guard is held in place with a pin, the rear with a wood screw. Only the extensions are filed before it's put on. After the trigger guard is inlet, the middle section is then filed. It's much easier to file once it's on the gun than when it's in the vise. The facets and molding on the trigger guard vary from gun to gun, although they all start from the same basic casting.
Once the fore end of the stock is finished, the gunsmith can attach the barrel. To do this, he first cuts 4 dovetails in the bottom flat of the barrel, and then from brass he folds up fittings called loops to fit into the dovetails.
Loops and pins are the most common method of holding in rifle barrels. Some gunsmiths like to use flat wedges instead of pins. Sometimes military weapons, especially French muskets, will have bands going all the way around the barrel and the stock. These are not as nice looking. After the loops are fit, they are inlet into the stock. A hole is drilled through the woodwork into the cavity where the loops fit. Then a hole is drilled through the brass loop. The barrel is put back in place and the hole continued on through the stock. A pin is then driven through this hole to hold the barrel and stock. 4 pins hold the barrel and stock together.
The flintlock rifle was not invented in America. Though a distinctively American style did develop, it was for the most part an amalgam of English and German designs. However, one improvement that was purely American was the hinged metal lid of the brass box, or patch box, as it is called today. It was used to hold the patches, which are pieces of linen wrapped around the ball in loading to provide a gas seal and to seat the ball tightly in the barrel. The making of a brass box begins with the cover and finial, which are hinged together.
Fitting the hinge is the most irritating part of making the patch box. The hinge is curved to conform with the stock. This makes it hard to get the pin to go through. Once the pin is through, it's pretty hard to get the hinge to work because of the curve. After the hinge is made, the finial is filed out and inlet into the stock. The cavity is hollowed out by drilling a series of holes with a brace and bit. These are squared out with wood chisels. After hollowing out, the side plates are made. These have no function. They are strictly decorative. With all these inlet, the patch box is then filed to the contour of the stock. The engraving of the patch box varies as do all other engravings. I never make 2 the same. spring that kicks the door open is placed under the finial. The spring that holds the door closed is set into the butt of the stock. The release is hidden as a screw in the toe of the stock. These releases are likely to be hidden anywhere. It's just a matter of style.
There must also be some way of holding the ramrod in the groove cut for it. This is done by attaching short pieces of brass tubing called thimbles. These are bent out of sheet brass. Everything on the gun is interrelated, not only in placement, but also in style. For example, the thimbles are filed into an octagon shape, which is an echo of the octagonal barrel above them. All the lines, moldings, and carvings are made to carry the eye smoothly down the length of the barrel. Mr. Gessler makes 3